Welcome everyone to our next City Commission meeting held virtually. Thank you for bearing with us during these times. I hope you all are staying safe, staying positive, and staying informed. We're looking forward to a very good meeting this evening, and we'll start with roll call, Deborah.
Certainly. Mayor Brook.
Here.
Vice Mayor Carter.
Present.
Commissioner Sarah.
Here.
Commissioner Vignola.
Here.
And Commissioner Simmons. Not present at the moment. City Manager Babinick.
Here.
City Attorney Hearn.
Here.
All right, very good. So we're gonna do a little moment of silence. You don't have to rise for it. I do. I will. If you'll take 60 seconds. Thank you very much. Next is a Pledge of Allegiance. We'll all do it together. Commissioner, Vice Mayor, here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And John, if you can please share the virtual meeting statement.
Thank you, Mayor. Due to the state of emergency as a result of COVID-19, this public meeting is being held using communications media technology in accordance with Resolution 2020-16 of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs. The city has taken several measures to ensure the requirements of Section 120.54 Florida statutes, as well as the spirit of the Florida Sunshine Law, is complied with during this unprecedented time. Accordingly, this meeting is available for viewing on City TV, Bluestream channel 725, 25, 25.7, and AT&T UVerse channel 99. Online as well, it's www.coralsprings.org/citytv and can be heard live on City Radio 1670 AM. For those individuals who may not have access to view the meeting by any of these means, the city is providing access to view the meeting on City TV outside the Coral Springs Municipal Complex, which is where we normally meet at 9500 West Sample Road, Coral Springs, Florida. If you plan to attend, please practice social distancing, not standing closer than 6 feet to those around you. Wear a mask. Public comment will be received by phone and email. The local call number is 954-344-5900. To submit written public comment, please complete the form located at www.coralsprings.org/public comment. For those attending the physical live stream at City Hall, a method for public comment is available and a city staff member will assist you if you wish to participate. Having said that, Mayor, it's your meeting.
Great, thank you so much. You know what I thought about doing, John, because we've gotten so many calls about the gyms and different businesses. If you can just share a little bit before public comment in regards to the Broward County order, how that varies to some extent from the governor's order. I think that might be helpful for everybody that's watching, listening in, and maybe about to share some public comment. And this isn't meant to deter any public comment. We really welcome each of you being here or writing in your message. We're happy to be here for you, be here with you, and listen to you and hear your concerns and ideas. So John, would you mind sharing a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So as far as the reopening phases and the governor's orders have been for the entire state of Florida, except for South Florida. So Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade, and to an extent, Monroe. And so as he moved forward, he recognized that this area was different in that it had much more in the way of cruise lines and some travel from some of the Northeast cities that came here and affected us differently. So he wanted to open the state and wait to see how Florida was doing. So he opened up a phase one. Shortly thereafter, Palm Beach was allowed to open up their phase one, and then Miami-Dade, and Broward, we opened our phase one. While we were doing that, the governor amended his phase one to make his phase one more liberal for the rest of the state, which, for example, opened gyms, talking about gyms. Then the Miami-Dade County entered their executive orders based on their emergency, and Broward County entered their executive order. Broward County's executive order preempted the city's order to the extent that the city was more liberal. So if we wanted to have a business open that the county had decided not to open, they expressly superseded our ability to do that. So we adopted that order as we had a choice between adopting the order in whole or adopting the order and then further closing businesses. And we decided not to do that. We would be as liberal as the county would allow. We expected the county order to be more like Miami-Dade's order in some issues. So this commission has seen over the last several weeks and this week as well. We frankly expected pet grooming to be open, but the county very specifically and their frequently asked questions said pet grooming is not open. That has changed, and the city manager informed me of that they have, I think, have actually finished that order and are now allowing pet grooming. Am I right with that, Mr. City Manager?
I spoke with the county manager about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and she had expressed the order was nearing completion, and she expected it to be finished by the end of business today or first thing tomorrow morning. We have not received a copy of that order yet, but she did indicate that pet grooming would be allowed in the very near future.
Thank you both for that.
Yeah.
Anything else, JJ?
Yeah. So so as far as gyms, because I know that has been an issue, we are preempted under state law. There has been at least one city that has said that they are going to not follow the county order on that. The city manager is working with the city and county managers on amending that order. There's been some conversation about amending that order to broaden it. My office is meeting with the county attorney tomorrow and the city attorneys on that same issue. And so we're looking at that. There may come a point where the county is simply changing that order, and that's what we're hopeful of doing, or they may be simply allowing cities to make that choice. For example, the city that continues to have the gyms open, if the county may make a decision to not go ahead and pursue action against them, in which case then they're actually letting cities know that that's not how they're interpreting it, that they're giving discretions to the city. But we will not go against the county order based on my recommendation, simply because under the state law, they do preempt us. But we will work with them, and as the city manager did work with them today, and I think this, for example, pet grooming is opening up as we understand it, and we are expecting and hopeful that gyms will be open as well. Because if the city manager stated this, if we had the authority, we would be treating that differently.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. That's very helpful.
My pleasure.
So we don't have any recognitions this evening. Normally we would. Our next area is public comment. So Deborah, if you let us know who you have first, we appreciate it. And then I'll give a preface before that person goes.
Okay, Mayor, we do have at this time 5 signed speakers, and I'm going to turn it over to Robert in IT. He is manning the switch. Just have to give him a second or two.
Sure.
Yes, I have the first caller, Michelle Brown, on the line.
Great. And so Michelle, before you go, and thank you very much for being here, the time limit is typically 3 minutes. And you may or may not have a response directly after from any one of us on my team here on the commission. I will allow them that opportunity. Typically, we decline and we may share our information, our thoughts and comments during the latter portion of the meeting where we each give our comments. So I don't want you or any other public speaker to feel shunned if you don't hear a particular reply back from any one of us. All right, Michelle, thank you for being here. Thank you for being in touch.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Brown, and I'm the owner of CrossFit Vice. My address in Coral Springs is 6315 Northwest 120th Drive. I'm a mom of 3, a resident of Coral Springs for 12 years, and we love our city. We truly appreciate you, Mayor, and the work you all do as commissioners. Today, I want to focus my points on 3 specific things that I want to address. And after hearing the attorney talk about some of the movement that the city has had, that is encouraging. However, my 3 points do still stand. 1, there is very little data or science going into the decision to keep gyms and studios closed. I want to point out that yesterday at the county commission meeting, Dr. Marks, the medical expert, the oncologist, stated there is no scientific evidence that gyms increase the spread of COVID. I would furthermore like to point out that Disney and Sawgrass Mills are both open at this time. If we look at the virus itself, there are 2 proven behavior patterns as discussed by Professor Sikora from the World Health Organization. Social distancing does work. Microgyms especially have the capability and the flexibility to adapt, to partition, to open up airflow. There are so many things that small gyms and studios are absolutely willing to do that often will go above the prepared CDC guidelines. The second pattern of this disease is that it is proven to have an affinity to affect the obese and those with chronic disease. We as gyms and studios are the very answer and solution to keeping your constituents and our community healthy. We serve healthy people under the age of 60. And more importantly, we serve not only at a physical capacity, but at this point, as a mom of 3, I worry for the mental capacity of our children. It is vital that gyms and studios have a definitive date of when we can open to give hope back to our community. I would like you, my second point is to look back to March 18th, 2020, as stated in the Miami Herald. The governor has issued his executive order, said Mayor Holness. The county charter does not allow us to close local businesses. Cities can do that. I urge our cities to look to see how they can take actions to mitigate the spread. That was from March 2020 on the 18th. Begging and pleading has obviously not worked with the county. Let's work to create a solution with our city attorney, our city manager, of how to work in the gray area of that charter, possibly allowing less than 10 people into our gyms or studio at a 40% capacity, washing hands, temperature, sanitation. I promise you, our micro gyms and small studios love our members. They are the lifeblood of our passion and what we do every day. We want to keep them safe. Coral Springs resident business owners are being harmed while personal politics are being played out at a county level, and it's extremely disheartening and disappointing. Finally, you keep trying to push saying this Friday. For us, there is no Friday. We have been closed for 11 weeks. Every day that goes on, we lose more members, we lose more opportunity to reinvest in our farmers markets and our chamber memberships and the dollars that we want to spend in our local community. Your gyms and studios love Coral Springs, and we show that every day in our actions. It really perturbs me that today the word reckless got thrown into the ring. I think it's very interesting to speak to members who have not had their doors shut by code. You have income coming in. We have no new income to pay our coaches, to pay our mortgages, to pay our utilities. Thousands of dollars we have spent on cleaning supplies so our members know that they can trust us. It's very easy to speak when you have paychecks coming in and your businesses are open. Hundreds of small gyms right now are about to lose the grip on their business because of partial politics being played out. The county may or may not get a new order in by Friday. Right now, there's no timeline for that, and every day matters for us. There are times in history, moments that leaders have had to look themselves in the mirror and know they took a stand for justice. What is happening for gyms and studios right now after 11 weeks of being closed, while Disney and Sawgrass Mills Mall open and pet grooming opens, is absolutely unacceptable. Unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. This is not about weightlifting. This is about the opportunity to do the right thing, although it may not be popular among the people who are choosing to control us. Clearly, all 65 other counties have opened. While you're worried about losing funding, who is concerned about every single small gym, every single dance studio and karate studio losing revenue and members in many cases that will create irreparable damage? Please do not disregard those of us that have worked relentlessly for decades in our city to deliver a service of health and well-being to your residents and your constituents. You can choose to wait until Friday, but I strongly urge you, and I appreciate the attorney's comments, if we can fight for a 10 and under member allowance clause, allowing us to start safely bringing in income after 11 weeks of being closed. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you very much, Michelle, and we definitely hear you. I believe all of us empathize with you, and at the appropriate time, any commissioner can comment. And like I said, they may be waiting until later on in the meeting. I will be waiting till later on in the meeting to address your issue. So I'm just looking around, Vice Mayor, Commissioner Simmons, Sarah. No one's raising their hand at this point. So thank you again, Michelle, for being here, and please stay tuned. Thank you. Our next speaker, Deborah.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'm sure Robert has it under control. Just takes a moment to switch from one speaker to the next.
Sure.
Deborah, do you have a bell for the time?
I do. It's going to sound like a car horn. Do you want me to put up maybe when it's 30 seconds left?
Yes, that would be helpful when there's 30 seconds left. That would be
Okay.
great. I think Michelle wound up getting about 5.5 minutes, which was no problem. Thanks for being patient, everyone.
Mayor, it's great that we're getting public comment.
It is. We've had very little since COVID, so it's good to have people coming and sharing. Robert, you ready?
I have the second caller on the line, Manuel.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you all so much for being amazing leaders in our community. And I completely understand that your hands are tied in this situation. My name is Manuel Mayer. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I'm a business owner here in Coral Springs for 27 years now, owning one of the first private training facilities called One-to-One Fitness. First of all, I know Michelle Brown and Justin Brown very, very well. So I'm going to kind of piggyback a little bit on what they spoke about and not really repeat what they spoke about. But first of all, I would like to talk about the fact that this is almost like an insult to our intelligence that we cannot handle following CDC guidelines, that we don't have the capacity, almost as though, hey, you guys are fitness trainers, you're not smart enough, you guys are gym rats, or, how the way some people want to look at it. So it's definitely an insult to my intelligence about doing this for 27 years now and being a veteran of our country. Next thing is when pre-quarantine, my doctor clients would all show up and say, hey, Manny, we're all your clients. As well, they're all starting to go into quarantine. And says, well, this is the best thing for them. They should be working out. All of my medical professionals, nurses and doctors that I train, they're all in the gym saying, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're going to prevent from getting the disease. So, that being said as well, cost of preparation coming out of this it's astronomical, because our clients all want to know what is it that you're doing to prepare your facility, because they're in so much fear because of what the government is saying, like, hey, gyms are not safe. So, they're so cautious about coming back. So we may be at like a 50% capacity. Fortunately, I've been in the industry for 28 years. I feel as though my business is pretty strong. But what about the other smaller facilities that may have just started a year ago or a couple of years ago, or, a few months prior to, quarantine? Their chance of survival is very, very small. We have clients. I can actually show you clients' messages calling up and saying, hey, when are you guys opening up? I'm in a desperate need of a personal trainer. These are new clients. People saying they're actually in desperate need of fitness and so that they can help to prevent, being a victim of, coronavirus in the future. So I know that my time is limited to 3 minutes, so I just want to thank you all for doing what you're doing. I appreciate your leadership in our community. And I understand, again, like you said, your hands are tied, and I just appreciate, you going out there and, being the voice for us. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Daniel, and thank you for your service to our country. I'm glad you're part of Coral Springs. Thank you for being here tonight.
People saying they're actually in desperate need of fitness and so that they can help to prevent.
So, Robert, do you have another speaker?
Coronavirus in the future.
I do. Stand by, please.
Thank you.
Mayor Robert also has another caller.
I have our next caller, George, on the line.
Okay, George, welcome.
Good evening,
Can you
everybody.
give us your name and address?
Hi. My name is George Davies. I live at 10180 Northwest 39th Court. It is a home that I've lived in since 1970 when I was 12 years old and my family moved here. I bought the house from my family and continue to live here with my kids. So I'm a longtime resident of this city. I had all my businesses in this city. As a financial planner for 35 years here in the city, managing over $25 million a year. So several years ago, I gave up my practice so that I could go into the business because I had transformed myself and I started wanting to transform others. So I'm not going to go over some of the things that Michelle went over or Manny went over because I know both of them. We belong to an organization of gyms that are working together that's 182 gyms strong with literally thousands of members now. Sent you all emails in the last several days. I'm sure you're pretty sick of seeing my emails pop up. I sent you about as much information as I can about our gym, other gyms, information about what's going on. So I'm not going to rehash those. I'm not going to go over the excessive protection protocols that all of us have put into place and the thousands of dollars that we spend to do that. My gym was already immaculate before this happened, and it will continue to be immaculate because that's the kind of gym I want to have. There's a misconception within everybody that the EDIL and the PPP was somehow a magic panacea for all of us. They think that quality trainers get paid peanuts, I guess. Quality trainers have college degrees in physical sciences. They have master's degrees. They have doctorates, okay? I pay my trainers commensurate with the training that they have. So you can guess that the PPP and the EDIL, how long that would last. Even with the pay cuts that we took, it only lasted 5 weeks. That's 5 weeks out of 12 weeks that we saw diminished capacity and then no income. Some gyms didn't qualify for the PPP and the EDIL because these were new gyms. And you know what? Just like us when we first started our first 5 years, none of us took salaries. So you know what? When you went for the PPP and the EDIL, you know what you got? Bupkis. You got nothing. But you know what kept coming in? All your bills, your rent, your FP&L, your phones, the insurance, your health insurance. And that's just on the business side. You know what also came in? My permit to continue my business. They didn't waive that for me. These programs were insufficient for us. Debts continue to roll up. The bills don't stop coming. We're not just a bunch of muscleheads, as Manny alluded to. We're people that have families. It's not just a bunch of single individuals that got together to hang out at the gym, okay? So what you got the other day at the commissioner meeting was the opinion of the mayor, the opinion of the commissioners, and the opinion of their so-called experts. The news reports say that they don't have the wherewithal to do what they're doing. I've always had a saying that say leaders lead by being in the front. You lead by example. And that's what we need now. We're all bleeding. We're all dying out there. We all need your help. And I'm going to tell you right now, many of you have alluded to the fact that Friday seems to be the date. Well, with thousands of members, you can imagine we have members that work for the county within the county commission office. And let me just tell you, this isn't happening by Friday. We don't have a couple more days to wait. I don't have a couple more weeks to wait. None of the gyms out there do. Imagine, if you will, that you didn't get a paycheck for 8 weeks. And the 4 weeks before your paycheck stopped, you saw your paycheck going smaller and smaller. That's what we're dealing with here. And then you demanded that we put in new protocols, which then again cost us thousands of dollars. What we need is we need a little leadership here. I'm going to ask you at the end of tonight's meeting to have an approval of opening the gym in some form and capacity. I realize that this puts you in default with the county on what they put forth. Sometimes you got to stand up. And I'm going to tell you right now, the county leaders that are in there are going to pay at the polls when it comes up time, because we have thousands of members. And right now they're unhappy. And you know, you're politicians. What happens when voters are unhappy? I'm not trying to threaten you. You've all done a fantastic job with having your hands tied behind your back. I'm just telling you what's going to happen to the county commission when time comes, because people are going to have a long memory, especially the gym owners in this county. I want to thank you. I know I went over my time. And as I said, I know many of you know me and you know how passionate I am about my gym, the community as a whole, and my gym community. So thanks for listening tonight. And I hope to hear something favorable at the end of this meeting.
Thank you very much, George, for being here. We hear your passion, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you. We'll wait for the next speaker, Bob. While we're waiting for the next speaker, Deborah, do you have any public comments that are just in writing?
No, everyone actually chose to speak this evening.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, I have the next caller on the line. We have Joe.
Welcome, Joe.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City staff. I'm calling tonight as the president of the Sunshine Water Control District, and on behalf of our Board of Supervisors, Sunshine welcomes the opportunity to partner with the city to work on the stormwater improvement in the Westchester community. I think it's something that is needed, and I'm glad that we have begun the process to help those residents. Also, Alex Falcone and their team did a great job in the selection of the 2 new vendors that will be controlling the monitoring and debris removal during storm events. I think they're very good, qualified companies. I do have a question that perhaps at some point it can be answered. The rates that are being offered by these new vendors, is it better or the same as the previous vendors? given the scope of work that they're offering to do. Lastly, I'd like to recognize the work that has been done by the commission, city manager, department heads, and the city staff in all areas. The level of communications we are receiving is very timely, useful, and informative. This is EMS Awareness Week, so I'd like to say thanks to our first responders, healthcare, and frontline workers for their hard work that they've been putting in. Lastly, hearing the plight of the small businesses in town, I happen to know Manny, as I was a client of his a while ago, and it's unfortunate that this segment of the business in town, due to the county regulation, suffering by continuing to be closed at this time. So with that, I'd like to invite all our residents to please go out with caution to support our local businesses and to stay safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Mayor.
For the record, Mayor, that was Joe Morera.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. And I think we have one more signed speaker, or is that it?
We have a signed speaker, and then we had someone who called in online.
Great. Thank you. I feel like next time we need to have some music in between, like when you're on hold, right, Sean?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, I have the next caller, David, on the line.
Thank you. Welcome, David.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is David Alvis. Thank you very much for having me. My last name is spelled Alvas. I'm the owner of both USK Karate Academies here in Coral Springs. We have a location on 4394 North State Road 7, and we have another location on 10629 West Atlantic Boulevard. You know, I think that with regards to the topics of micro gyms, I think the people that spoke before me spoke very eloquently about the topics. So, you know, first of all, I understand that for those of you who are serving us in government, you have a very difficult job on a normal day. For you to be doing the job that you're doing in the middle of a global pandemic is tough for anybody to appreciate what it is that you guys are doing. So thank you for serving us in normal times and for serving us during such an unprecedented emergency. You know, Michelle Brown, I think, put it very eloquently, and I just want to express that I mirror her sentiments. I mirror George's sentiments. I think the thing that is the most frustrating for all of us to understand is the lack of congruency in the policies that are being put forth from our county that go directly against what the governor advised. And when you go to Home Depot or you go to Walmart, as I did on Friday when I thought I was going to open, to get equipment to open, and the amount of people and the lack of rules that were being followed in there, it adds insult to injury for all of us. And that, I think, is what a big part of the problem is. It's the lack of congruency when you have organizations like mine and the other gym owners and dance schools that can do an excellent job and be a shining light for the community of how to follow the rules the right way, because we want to represent our government and our city the right way. We want to make you guys proud of us as business owners. So that's something that I think is heavy on the minds of any business owner that has been, and it's still shut down now, when they take a stroll through Publix, Walmart, Home Depot, or even going to a restaurant now with no face mask on. It sends mixed messages. The other thing I want to make a comment on, being that my schools are predominantly children-based martial arts schools, and Mayor Brook, I know that a long time ago, I think close to 15 years ago, we had the privilege of working with your son in our school, so you have a really good understanding of what it is that USK does and what USK stands for. You know, there's a whole nother wave of issues that's coming if we don't get institutions like the gyms and the martial arts schools, especially the ones that help children with mental health issues and physical health issues. And it is going to dwarf the issues that are going on due to COVID.
We hear you,
We
David.
all know that COVID attacks adults, but when it comes to kids, when that becomes the major problem, that's going to be something else with the community and with the global community. So please help us. Please do something. Thank you very much for your time, guys. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you, David. Thank you for your acknowledgement, your words, and good message. We hear you. We hear George. We hear all of you. Thank you, David. One more speaker, Deborah?
That is correct. We have one more speaker. His name is Michael Pierre.
Great. Welcome, Michael. And Deborah, when they're signing up to speak, they give you their address, so you have it already on the record?
I have everything on file. Yes, I do.
Great. Thank you.
And I'll take this opportunity to make sure we have not received any signed speakers from the email address.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Okay, I have Michael on the line.
All right, great. Thank you. Welcome, Michael.
Hi, how are you? First of all, let me say I'm happy that I've spoken with you earlier today, and I know there's a lot of upset people, but you have a hard job to do. And
Michael, I'm going to ask you to speak from a different way because you're sounding a little fuzzy to us. So I don't know if the phone is too close.
Oh, okay, 1 minute.
Mask on.
Can you hear me better?
Yes. Yes.
Hello?
We can hear you better now.
Yes, I'm calling on behalf of my wife, who actually has a store right by you. And I'm just only calling to clarify because I caught in at the last moment. So you said that you're going to approve dog grooming as being part of phase 1 now?
My understanding from the city attorney is that the county is drafting something this evening. And I'll have Frank, if you want to clarify what your understanding is at this juncture, you can. If you want to wait till later, that's fine too.
Mayor, I can just real quick, I spoke to the county administrator around 3 o'clock and they said they were going to be allowing dog grooming and they were in the process of drafting the order, which they anticipated being done by tomorrow morning.
And Mayor, just to follow up on that, because I know the speaker said that we were approving. It's not ours to approve. We're asking the county, who has the authority based on the preemption, to approve that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, I spoke with the city. I'm sorry. And I was just clarify that because I got that at the last moment when I got into the meeting, and I was kind of just spinning around. But I appreciate all your help. And I'm not going to take up much of anyone else's time because I'm sure that you got a lot of the people that are willing. But appreciate your help. You're doing a great job. A long-term Coral Springs resident. I'm happy I've spoken with you and got a great job from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Have a nice evening. Okay. Does that
You
wrap
too.
it up
All
for
right.
us, Deborah?
Yes, Mayor, we do not have any speakers outside, and I believe Robert is finished with the switchboard.
Okay, then we will wrap up our public comment and we'll move forward with public hearings, special meeting announcements. Our first is Resolution 2020-021.
Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, approving the amendment to Community Development Block Grant CDBG funds for fiscal year 2018-19 and fiscal year 2019-20 annual action plans, authorizing staff to transit the approved amendment and supporting resolution to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, providing for an effective date. This request to hold a public hearing, amend, and authorize.
Great, thank you. Hi, Julie.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Go ahead to the next slide, please. So as you all know, each July we come to you with our action plan that outlines how we will be spending the next year's allocation of Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG funds. The federal guidelines do allow us to make changes to that action plan subsequent to its adoption if one of three things happen, of which you can see on the screen here. In this case, we're looking to repurpose funds, number 2, as you can see here, into a project that was not previously identified on this year's action plan. So that's why we're here before you this evening. Next slide. More specifically, we had about $25,000 left over from the Coral Hills Drive ADA sidewalk program. And we'd like to reallocate that to use for engineering and design for 3 other sidewalk projects that are going to be shown on your plan for next year. They're on 81st Avenue, 91st Avenue, and 35th Court. Next slide. Repurposing these funds will help us to meet our requirements for timeliness. As you can see, we're required to keep no more than 1.5% of our annual allocation within our accounts for CDBG. Next slide. Therefore, we're asking that you please hold a public hearing and recommend approval of the amendment to the 2018-2019 and 2019-2020 action plans, that you adopt resolution 2020-021, approving the amendments as well as authorizing staff to submit the change to HUD for approval. That concludes staff's presentation this evening.
Great, thank you, Julie. This is a request to hold a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wants to be heard?
I do not have anyone that would like to speak on this particular item.
All right, very good. Then our public hearing will be closed. It's a request to amend, adopt, and authorize. Is there a motion or any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor. Commissioner Sarah has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Julie. Next is the consent agenda. Are there any pulls?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull number 5.
Okay. So is there a motion for 2, 3, and 4?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Carries unanimously. Thank you. So you pulled Commissioner Sarah number 5.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to take this moment to thank Richard Machad and his entire team, as well as the Sunshine Water Control District. I think that this is a perfect example of great collaboration and teamwork and identifying a real need that was brought forward and taking corrective measures to fix it. So I just wanted to thank both groups for the great work on this item.
Great. Will you move it, Commissioner?
I'd love to motion to approve.
Second.
All right, seconded by Commissioner Vignola. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you. Next, we're on to the ratification of emergency order 2020-16 regarding mobile food vendors during a state of emergency.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an example of the city manager and his staff and this commission trying to help out another business here, mobile food vendors who have an active license in the city and who operate and are based in the jurisdictional boundaries of the city, trying to assist them in keeping their businesses alive and also to help the community to have another place in order to get food. So there's a permit fee. There's a layout for the site to make sure that there's social distancing and some limitations on it. But if it's done in a socially proper way, with a site plan doesn't interfere with traffic, we have a simple application, and they've been operating the last couple of weeks, and as I understand it, in a very healthy manner. So this is to approve that emergency order 2020-16 for mobile vendors.
Great, thank you. And Frank, it says in here, within 3 business days, we will give approval or deny. Is that a reasonable time frame for us? We're able to meet that, no problem?
Yeah, actually, I believe we're exceeding that. Julie's still on the line. The applications actually go through Susie and Julie's office, so they can speak to that. But we received our first application the other day, and they processed it pretty readily. Julie, is that correct?
Correct. We've received a couple, and we've received a few phone calls too. So we're working with a couple different vendors.
Wonderful. Great. Well, we hear a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, moved and second. Any discussion? All right, just a great job of being proactive, fellows and gals. We really appreciate it. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
So 1 opposed. Commissioner Vignola. And then we have policy formation and direction. Item number 7 is resolution 2020-020, Broward County Surtax project support.
So, Mayor, as you know, with the Broward County Surtax program, cities are able to submit for projects. We've submitted for just under $4 million worth of projects. And staff is prepared to go through those and give you an overview of what that looks like.
Thank you.
Hello again, everyone.
Hey, Julie.
Go ahead to the next slide. So on November 6, 2018, as everyone I'm sure remembers, Broward County voters approved the transportation surtax here in Broward County. This was after working with the county and all the cities to adopt not only the ordinance at the county level, but also interlocal agreements at the city level as far as how this money was going to be allocated and the process to go ahead and do that. There were about 500 projects that were submitted from all the municipalities to utilize the funds for. And subsequent to receiving all those, the county separated them into 2 different categories. The first being new capital projects and the second being those that were more rehabilitation and maintenance of existing facilities. Next slide. More recently, the county has prioritized, the first list of capital projects, what they're calling cycle 1 for all of this first year of the municipal capital projects in March of this year. And just last week, we submitted our projects for the R&M projects to be evaluated, which we're actually meeting with them, I believe, in a couple weeks here to go over those projects as well. Next slide. So looking at the capital projects first, just to give you an overview of what we've submitted for. The MPO actually recommended 116 projects for funding in cycle 1. And we did very well as far as the projects that we submitted. We actually have 4 on the list for the first year. Go to the next slide. They include the traffic signals for fire stations 71 and 80, design for bus shelter replacement throughout the city, as well as 2 separate sidewalk construction projects. And those total about 1.7 million. Next slide. And then looking at our R&M projects. Next slide, thank you. There were about 200 R&M projects identified at the county level. And the reason for separating these is they knew that these projects really wouldn't rank as high as the capital projects. So these will be funded each year. There'll be a different amount based on what's left over from the capital projects being funded. We have 2 projects for R&M in cycle 1. Next slide, please. The first being roadway resurfacing for 7 different neighborhoods in the city, as well as alleyway resurfacing, again, throughout the city. And that totals about $2.3 million for just the R&M alone. Next slide, please. So with that, staff is recommending you adopt Resolution 2020-020, supporting our Cycle 1 surtax projects, and then authorize staff to submit them to Broward County. I'm here for any question. Paul Carpenter is our transportation planner. He's here on the line as well. Paul's been the one to spearhead this since the beginning, when surtax was just an idea at the county level. And Mr. Mayor, if I may, I'd just like to take a moment to recognize Paul and thank him, since this is likely his last meeting before his retirement in July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, after almost 14 years of employment with the city. So he's been a great coworker. We're definitely going to miss him. I just want to, again, recognize Paul and tell him thank you for all the hard work he's done for the city throughout his career here, and wish him all the best in the future.
Absolutely. We echo that. Thank you very much, Paul. We're going to miss you. We wish you all the best. Would you like to say a couple of words, Paul?
Well, I appreciate the recognition. I've been here 14 years almost, and it's been one of my favorite jobs I've had. I enjoy coming to work every day. I've worked for 4 city managers. I've worked for a lot of different city commissioners. I've enjoyed the opportunity to get to work with city commissioners, get to know them personally, especially those that represent us on the MPO, Mr. Vignola, Commissioner Vignola, and several others before him. So anyway, I've appreciated, I've always felt, I want to really appreciate working with Frank Babinick also as a city manager. I've always felt, I mean, he's been given the test of fire, believe me, and he's responded very well. I think you well know how well he's responded to this. I've gotten to know him in the EOC during the hurricane, and I know how he works under this command structure. He's really great. And I tell you, I've always felt safe coming into work. I've been working at home for the last couple months, seems like, and I kind of miss coming into work and seeing employees. In that sense, I'll come in once in a while, more often now than earlier, but I've always felt really safe coming into work. It's like it's the safest place I can be. Sometimes even safer than my home. I appreciate the recognition. It's time for me to ride off into the sunset. It's that time in my life to start a new chapter. So I've really enjoyed working with the city, and I appreciate everything. Thank you very much.
Well, it's wonderful to hear. Wonderful to hear. Yeah, we'll give you a round of applause, Paul. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. If you have any questions on the surtax, I'm certainly willing to. This process of the surtax is a big grind here, and we're going to go now dealing with the oversight board with the county. This Friday, we're going to talk about all the capital projects, the sidewalk projects, the traffic signals and the bus shelters. And then on June 4th, we're going to be dealing with the rehab and maintenance projects with Broward County and the oversight board. So they have to approve them. And then it will go to the commission, the county commission, for a supplemental budget. This is all for this current fiscal year. And once they do that, maybe in July, the commission will approve the supplemental budget. And assuming we pass all these thresholds here, we would begin receiving that money. Once we enter into a local agreement with the county to receive that money, we would have 12 months to complete each one of these projects. Now, I understand that the only construction project we have is the traffic signals. Those were fully designed and ready to go, ready to be built. The 2 sidewalk projects were only for planning. So through that, we'll do some public outreach. We'll do some survey work and some conceptual drawings, and we'll develop a plan in order to go into design. Those 2 are sidewalk projects. Those are $40 million in 2 different projects, one area-wide, another linear projects. So there's going to be, this is a 30-year program. So we're going to decide how we want to approach the construction of these projects. I don't think we want to we have to decide whether we want to go after $40 million all at once, or we want to phase these in over a few years or several years. That's what we'll do in the planning process. The bus shelter program is a replacement of, there's not that much money in there. It's like $350,000. And we had applied to replace as many shelters as we can. We're not going to get that many shelters out of that money, but we'll get as many as we can. And it's only the design phase. And then we'd have to go next year after construction money, once we've designed where they're going to be located, what kind of pads have to be changed, and we're going to go to a nicer shelter. And then after that, the next phase will be developing a 5-year plan. That was what the MPO and this county will do. So this is just for 1 year. And then we'll enter into we'll begin discussions with the MPO and with the county regarding a 5-year plan. And then we'll have more certainty as to what's going to happen in the next few years, whether there's planning, whether there's more design, or whether there's construction. At the end of the process, we should have a lot of construction work going on. Anyway, that's kind of a summary. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Paul. Any questions of Paul or Julie? Okay, it's a request to approve. Is there a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to thank Paul, and like you said, I had the privilege of working with him for quite a long time on the MPO. And I think I started with him in the MPO when I was 29 years old. I knew nothing really about transportation, except for that I got in the car and I drove somewhere. And he really opened my eyes to public transportation and things. And every time I go out of town now, it's like I hear Paul's voice in my ear telling me, "Hey, jump on this, jump on that." And yeah, you've been very helpful for me in my time on commission. And although I'm very, very happy for you, I am sad to see you go. And I just want to thank you for, again, taking the extra time to help me out through everything. I really, truly appreciate it. So, and good luck to you and your family.
It's been a pleasure, Larry, our commissioner. Appreciate it.
Larry.
Thank you, Larry. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Carries unanimously. Thank you and all the best to you, Paul. You've done a great job with the city. Our next item is number 8, termination, disaster management, and financial recovery assistance services.
So Mayor, 8 through 13 all tie together, meaning that they're all getting us prepared for hurricane season. Dare I say that? I'm hoping we don't have to deal with the storm this year, but we were reminded this weekend that it is coming to that season. So staff has worked very hard to get some contracts in place that will prepare us going into hurricane season to make sure we have the proper disaster management and removal services in place. So these are separate items, but there'll be a common theme here. Alex, Falcone, Claudia, and John will kind of walk us through these as a team, but we'll take them one by one. Alex, number 8.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to the commission. Number 8 is the termination of our disaster contract with Witt O'Brien's for disaster financial services. We went out for an RFP, a competitive bid process, to look at proposals from different vendors. Over the last couple of years, FEMA has made the requirements more stringent. So in order for our city to be fully compliant with these requirements, we did go out for an RFP process. And so number 8 is to terminate our previous contract with Witt O'Brien's, who was our disaster financial services provider over the last several years.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Vignola, seconded by Vice Mayor Carter. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Carries unanimously. Thank you, Alex. Next is disaster management assistance and financial recovery assistance services, item number 9, also Witt O'Brien's.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. So number 9 is to award the disaster recovery services contract to Witt O'Brien's. This contract has all the federal procurement requirements included within it. We did decide to award this contract to Witt O'Brien's. They've been our contractor, as I mentioned, for the last several years. They've successfully helped the city avoid deobligation of just over $5 million as it related to Hurricane Wilma. They also successfully prepared our project worksheet documents for Hurricane Irma and have helped us answer requests for information from the Federal Division of Emergency Management as well as the State Division of Emergency Management. So they had a very competitive proposal, and the selection committee decided to award this contract to Witt O'Brien's again.
Okay, this is a request to award. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, carries unanimously. Thank you. Next is item number 10.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So once again, we went out for RFP process for our disaster debris monitoring. This item is to terminate our current contract with Rostan Solutions as a result of that process.
To request to terminate, may I hear a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Vignola, seconded by Vice Mayor Carter. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Carries unanimously. Next, still back to you, Alex.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Item number 11, disaster debris monitoring. This is to award a contract to Tetra Tech. As a part of that RFP process, we looked at several qualified vendors to provide debris monitoring services to the city. We ended up selecting Tetra Tech as the preferred vendor for a number of reasons. Chief among those was they have an online recovery track system. That system enables them to upload all of their documentation, the backup, truck certifications, pictures of debris that's removed. And that's all crucial for our city to get reimbursement from FEMA after a storm. So because of that, they also were more competitive in their pricing. So their pricing was more affordable for the city, and they were highly qualified, highly recommended firm. Because of those reasons, the selection committee decided to award the contract to Tetra Tech.
Great. Thank you, Alex. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Sarah, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Okay, now we're up to number 12, termination disaster recovery services to terminate for convenience a contract with Phillips and Jordan, Inc.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Once again, as part of this process to get prepared for hurricane season, we went out for RFP. This item is to terminate the contract with Phillips and Jordan, and we will reaward in the next item.
Great. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Moved by Vice Mayor Carter. You're muted, Commissioner Simmons. Are you seconding?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, carries unanimously. Next for item number 13.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Item 13 is the disaster recovery services. It's the debris hauling contract. We did decide as the selection committee, we're recommending awarding this contract to Ceres Environmental for a number of reasons. All of the firms that presented to us were very qualified. We determined to go with Ceres Environmental for a few reasons. They came highly recommended from their other clients. During previous storms, at no point did they raise their rates or did they provide subpar service. They also have a large inventory of equipment, tub grinders and other related equipment. That means that the debris processing here in the city will be a little bit more quicker for us. And finally, when we looked at their rate schedule, they were very competitive with their pricing, and it provides the city with a more cost-effective solution. For those reasons, the committee is recommending to award the contract to Ceres.
Well, Alex, thank you and your committee for all of your work on this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Vice Mayor?
Sure.
All right. Second by Commissioner Sarah. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, carries unanimously. Thank you, team. Thank you, Alex. We are now on to Commissioner Communications. Who would like to go first?
Sandra, it must be. I will.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
So I also want to wish a congratulations for law enforcement officers and emergency professionals for their weeks of honor, and I am grateful for all that they do. I would also like to encourage our residents to be using their cell phones and their calendars and their cell phones to be noting where they go, because we're not out of this. And if for some reason, goodness gracious forbid that somebody gets it, at least you know where you were without having to struggle. And it's easy to reference back to that. So grateful if you would follow that. And congratulations again to Paul Carpenter. You've been awesome to work with, always very responsive. And I hope that you get to enjoy all the time off for all the time that you put in. So congratulations and good luck to you. And lastly, this issue with the counties and the state orders for telling us, you know, what we have to do and by our charter, how we have to follow the rules. And for people saying, well, you're in charge of the city, you make the decision and you move forward. And this, it's killing me. I mean, because this is, I mean, for someone to think that I want to shut them down or I don't want them to have income, not at all. I'm a commissioned salesperson. I know what it's like not to have income. This is hard. When I make a decision, it's not for one person. It's not for one business. It's not for 100 people. It's not for 1,000 people. It's for 130,000 people. And that decision has to be long-term. It can't be short-term. And I am praying like you cannot believe that it is 48 hours. And I believe George says that I'm looking down a wishing well. Well, yeah, I am looking down a wishing well, but I also spoke to the mayor of Broward tonight, and he is optimistic as well. They listen to us. They listen to you. When you're not happy about something, we listen to you. But our hands are frequently tied about what we can and cannot do. Sure, we want to. Absolutely, we want to. But again, back to that big picture, sometimes we just cannot move forward because our hands are tied by the law. Do I want to break the law? No, not particularly. But do I want to make a decision that's going to benefit the whole city overall? Yes, that is the direction that I will take. So you elected me to make difficult decisions. I'm willing to take the beating. But in the long run, I'm going to know that I did the right thing. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you for your service. Who would like to go next? How about you, Commissioner Simmons?
No, I have a lot, so I would prefer that someone else goes before me.
Commissioner Sarah?
Yeah, I'm happy to go. Thank you. First and foremost, I want to give a happy belated birthday to Frank Babinek. It's been a pleasure working with you as principal at JP Terraville and now as the city manager for Coral Springs. You're doing a phenomenal job with your entire team, but you definitely have set the culture and are leading by example. So I hope you had a very special day yesterday, and thanks for all of your efforts. I also wanted to congratulate and thank all of our military service people currently enlisted and previously enlisted and in the reserves. You guys are our heroes. You definitely are on the front line and have protected our freedoms. And on behalf of this entire commission, I know I say thank you, but also on behalf of my personal family, the freedoms and the luxuries that we enjoy today are because of your unselfish dedication to our country. And I truly, truly appreciate you. I also wanted to give a shout out to Rob Hunter. There's going to be a formal announcement. I guess it's already been made, but congratulations to Rob Hunter as our new Parks and Rec Director. You served in interim role well, and you're going to do a great job leading us forward with your work. I just also wanted to give a special thanks to the entire city staff. I had the opportunity, I guess, for our third draft, maybe fourth on the reopening plan. We have a great, committed, and strong team here in Coral Springs. Very proud to work with the commission, but we have some great minds trying to think of every angle. And the reopening plan that has been put forth has taken a lot of thought, time, and due diligence, and just really appreciate the document and the proactive approach that we're taking. That kind of segues me to, the guest speakers here tonight, especially around the personal fitness and gym world with Michelle and Manuel and George and David. I think David made a point that resonated with me. We're getting some mixed messages on what's going on. We got people going to restaurants and they're not wearing masks, or they're driving around and there's a bunch of people together in designated areas. So, Joy, Vice Mayor Carter definitely hit home with her comments. I mean, it's tough to be in this situation through the Preemptive Act, but I believe in our leadership. So Frank, I'm looking forward to your report. I know you put a lot of time and effort into this particular point, along with our attorney, John Hearn and his team. So I'll be looking forward to getting some feedback from you when you're giving your remarks. I just wanted to give a last big shout out to the class of 2020. You guys are enduring. This is just crazy times, and I know a lot of people are struggling in different ways, but my heart goes out to the seniors there, because you guys have lost so much with Grad Bash and proms and senior awards and scholarship opportunities. But I want you to know that our commission, but more importantly, our city leadership, is taking some extra special steps to recognize and honor you. Tonight at 8:20, I believe it's the Sports Flex field, along with some other fields maybe, will be lit up in blue to honor you. And then also we got some parades that you're going to hear some messaging through the communications office that will be taking place in the early part of June. And then we got virtual graduations. I know we all prefer a traditional graduation, but you never know. I mean, we're going to start with virtual commencements June 15th through June 28th, but we have reserved dates July 27th through August 4th in hopes of maybe some type of opportunity where you guys could cross the stage and get some kind of recognition that in the past we've traditionally done. So keep positive and, stay in the loop, but more importantly, just know that, it took a lot of people to support you, and thank them. That's the one thing I always told kids when I was at JPT, is that it took a lot of people to get you where you are. And with me, I mean, everybody has taught me a lot in my life, and just let those people know on that special day that, yes, it's your diploma, but a lot of people put some time and effort to help you get there. For those of you out there, if I can assist you in any way, shape, or form, feel free to email me, but you can also reach me on my cell at 954-612-7114. Everyone be safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, Commissioner. Who'd like to go next? Between
Come
you.
on, Commissioner Vignola. Come on.
I'll go. It doesn't matter to me.
Go right ahead, Commissioner Vignola.
So a couple things. One, I know it's always kind of been a thing as teens, right? And regardless of the generation, there's always nothing to do. And I know, unfortunately, right now, they probably feel a little bit more like that. So give teens something to do. On June 1st at 7 p.m., we'll be hosting a virtual teen political forum where teens will be able to go ahead and ask questions of their elected officials. So far confirmed, we have State Representative Dan Daly, we have Broward Commissioner Michael Udine, we have School Board Member Lori Aldeff, and I believe our entire City Commission here will be able to attend. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. All the things that, like Commissioner Sarah was saying, that were taken away from the kids, it's just another way the city is trying to go ahead and try to fill in that void a little bit, and a little bit of normalcy. It's an event that I know a lot of kids look forward to every year. It'll be my last one, so I'm not looking forward to it. But it's a great event. Again, that's June 1st at 7 p.m. Other thing I want to talk about was I thought it was really awesome what we did think it was last week, we went out there to go visit Abe, and how staff went ahead and put that together and have the members of the commission go out there and recognize him. Abe's just been an amazing part of my commission experience. He's been going to almost every single meeting since I've been elected. He's just an all-around great guy, and I really, really appreciate staff throwing that together. Frank, you're the man. And with that, it was nice seeing some of the staff members out there. I feel like a lot of you guys have become family over the last decade or so. I think I'm at the point where I've spent about a quarter of my life on this commission. So it was nice to see everyone and whatever. And then, looking around and seeing, Julie Krolak and, Lynn and, Paul Carpenter and Sean Backer and stuff. I miss you guys. I know we have the most amazing team that could possibly put together for this. I really believe that. Frank, can't tell you enough how much I appreciate your leadership through this. Happy belated birthday. Alex, I don't know how you got all those agenda items on. I know you've just been sitting around doing nothing for the past
we had to give him something to do.
Keep him busy, right? And we're very fortunate to have you as part of our team too. Congratulations, Rob Hunter. I think that's awesome. I think you're doing a great job in the interim role. I'm a little concerned about something else I want to get into. I know we had talked in the past about stacking commission meetings and inviting people out, whatever. I received a phone call this morning from a business owner that I know, and he told me he was invited out by a member of the commission and said, hey, even though it's against the order, a member of our commission said that if they get on there and 3 commissioners vote, we can go against the county order. And I don't think that's really the fair way to do things. I know we said that as something that part of our procedures we wouldn't do. And I want to see us stick to that. I don't think that's really the fair or right way to do it. The best part about it is after that business owner had called me, I reached out to the city manager's office. It turns out that business was allowed to open. That individual thought his business was not going to be allowed to open. So I want to thank staff for doing that. But I just want to make sure that we're not setting people up for things and inviting people to meetings when it's really out of our control. When it's a county order, we cannot violate that. And I want to make sure that we stick to our protocols and things. With that, if anyone would like to talk to me about any issue or concern in the city of Coral Springs, please feel free to reach me on my cell phone at 954-632-7544. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Simmons.
All right, I want to thank everyone for kind of indulging me and letting me speak now at this point. So a couple of items. The first thing I want to say or ask about is in early March, before we kind of moved into the whole shutdown and social distancing, we were going to have something come up on the agenda, just doing a recognition for local chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated here in the city. It's their centennial year. And we were going to have a recognition for them. I had already got approved by the commission. And so I just wanted to see if we can at least get that mailed out to them. If we're not going to do anything like that, but can we at least get them something? I really do. They understand that, we've kind of shut down a lot of different things, but I'm hopeful that we could at least mail that to them so they can at least have it for them to have something during this time.
Josh will handle that.
Okay, thank you. The second thing I want to say is congratulations to the class of 2020. This morning, I was very fortunate enough to take part in our taping at Coral Springs High School, giving a message on behalf of the city and the city commission, congratulating the seniors and kind of giving them a little send-off. Obviously, it has been a very tough time, and I don't want to reiterate too much of what Commissioner Sean Sarah said. But you all have proven how you can overcome many different obstacles and many different challenges, and use these moments and use these this history to move forward in your life, because there will be tough times. But if you remember what you've already been through, you'll be able to get through much, much more. So congratulations. Don't let any natural disaster, don't let any pandemic, don't let any person take this moment away from you. This is your accomplishment. And so, go forth, go out there, whether you go to college, whether you pick up a trade, whether you get right to work, your family loves you, and we are all, including everyone in this meeting, proud of you. So congratulations on that. 2 items I want to bring up are 2 resolutions. One is, I would like for us to have a resolution, one for the county and one for the state, and even maybe federal. I'm not sure how the city wants to, or how staff wants to do it. But I would like for us to have a resolution encouraging the county and the state to put together a local government task force to address the funding losses due to the COVID-19 impact. There's been a lot of talk at the federal level that only cities of 500,000 could get some type of federal funding, but everything else may be a pass-through if it's, for smaller cities. And so there's a lot of information or not information that's out there. And so I think it would be prudent if state leadership or county leadership allow local governments in on the conversations so that we know what information we need to bring back to our cities so that we can mitigate any of those effects due to COVID-19. So, I ask the commission for your support in that.
I'm fine with that.
So I'm going to entertain that as a motion from Commissioner Simmons for the resolution and a second from Vice Mayor Carter. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner Simmons.
All right, thank you. Second resolution I would like to ask for your support in is an anti-hate resolution denouncing the use of the term Chinese virus to describe COVID-19. People have used the term and which has caused unnecessary pain and has also turned Asian Americans into targets during this pandemic. And I think, we should go with what the medical term is, which is COVID-19, and not and denounce any kind of racist or bigoted rhetoric when it comes to describing this virus. I don't think it's fair that one community should be ostracized in such a manner. And so I think anytime that we have an opportunity to denounce hate speech, we should take that. There's also been reports out there that the Jewish community has been targeted during this pandemic, and saying that this is a global conspiracy to take control during this time. And so I think anytime we have an opportunity to take that stand to protect and care for everyone in our community, we should. So this would be a resolution to denounce that hate speech when it comes to describing COVID-19.
Commissioner Simmons, I'll take that as a motion. Is there a second from the dais?
I'll second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Carter. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you for your leadership, Commissioner Simmons.
All right, thank you. And so I guess we're going to get into kind of meat of this. I want to respond to all of the emails and stuff that we got today and then yesterday regarding the gym, the micro gyms and gyms of opening. So to Maria N, to Paul S, Johnny H, Chelsea D, Danette T, which is interesting to Danette. It's interesting that I thank you for reaching out to us, and it's interesting that you somehow knew that we would be discussing gyms tonight and discussing the possibility of opening them when it's not even on the agenda. So I thought that was really that was magical that you somehow was able to guess that in your email to us today. To April L, to Britann and Mabel B, Joanna J, Elizabeth J, Lou V, and Annette K. Thank you for sending your emails. I read every single last one of them, didn't skim through any one of them. I read them all. I also want to take this time to thank Luam for being so gracious and dedicated to responding to all of those emails that came in. I want you all, and I read all your names because I want you to know that I did see your emails and that I read them and took my time reading them. To Mr. Davies, you spoke earlier. I also read your email, and I number one want to congratulate you on your weight loss journey and sharing that story with us. Thank you for being inspirational and motivational to other people to on their weight loss journeys. I also appreciate you being a watchdog and being a business owner in this community. And I want you also to know that I understand your passion in protecting something that you built. I think it's important that we recognize that, we understand that you built your life around, health and fitness and providing that service to others. And so, I read your email and I was very happy to see the story you shared with us. And so my general message will be is that Coral Springs is a team player. We don't want to be seen as the rogue entity in the county. We want to play, along with everyone. We don't want to be seen as the trouble, city or anything like that. And so, if we have an understanding and other cities have made understandings with all of us together that we're going to, make sure we move forward together. I would always encourage Coral Springs to do that because, it's better to be together than to be apart. And so for some of you, I think your issue should be with the governor. He left counties and cities to fend for themselves, facing down a pandemic. And I hope everyone that, emailed us, that spoke out today, people that have been griping about different businesses being closed during all of this, I hope all of you will be up in arms when it is time for us to request funds that will help offset the impacts of COVID-19. I guarantee you that it will be a very long and difficult fight to get those funds. If we have to make hard decisions that offset those effects, every resident and business owner in this city we will have to make tough decisions, and it won't be for a lack of trying. I guarantee you that every resource and every avenue will be looked at and checked into by the city staff. But if we have to make a tough decision as a commission that will affect every resident and every business owner in this city, I want you all to understand why. All right. The next thing that I have to say, and this is not necessarily just to the people that spoke out today, this is for everybody in the city, because we have gotten all of your communications. We see it all. We pay attention to it all. We are reading it all. I will not allow anyone to badmouth this administration, this city administration, the Coral Springs city administration. They have not been focused on their own projects and all the events and things that they had to cancel. They have not been focused on that. What this administration has been focused on is spending their time and energy on feeding almost 900 people every week for the last 2 months. All right. They have spent hours racking their brains trying to figure out how to help our small business community. I know, because I have been doing the same thing, as well as my other commissioners. All right. I have personally worked with state representatives and other local elected officials in Broward County to make sure that people were not kicked out of their homes or have their utilities shut off during a pandemic. Trust me, we are trying to look out for every single person and business in this city. So forgive me if I seem a bit combative, but I will not let anyone think for a second that we aren't operating with the utmost integrity and that we are not thinking about you and the businesses that you all built. Trust me, when I ran for office, I campaigned trying to make sure we protected and uplifted and improved our relationships with our small business community. And so I really think you all got to understand that, because some of the things that you all have said to us seemed like we were going out of our way to stick it to you, to keep you struggling, to keep you not earning an income. We want you to thrive. And so I'll leave it to that. But I have to take a bit of a detour, because I also received another email, and maybe some of my commissioners did as well. So to the gentleman that ranted and raved about his liberty being infringed on and his constitutional rights being violated, I have a message to you and everyone else that has used that as a rallying cry during this time. I'm going to tell you to stop it. You do not get to monopolize the United States Constitution, and you don't get to conform it to your own selfish and personal reasons. The preamble talks about promoting the general welfare of its governed citizens. No one wants to harm businesses just as much as no one wants to see people die. All right. No one wants to tell people that they can't enjoy the parks that makes this city so beautiful. However, we also wanted to make sure that we mitigated the effects of COVID-19. You may not choose to believe in facts and science, but I do. Your sense of entitlement and selfishness and lack of care for your own countrymen is disgusting, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. We had an opportunity to come together as a nation, but some of you chose to remain divisive. We must be better for our posterior, our children, because I think they matter as well. And if you want to sue me because I'm doing my job, because I care about people living and thriving and having an opportunity to secure all of the blessings of liberty in this country, then go right ahead and sue me. And so I'll leave it at that. Sorry, I'm got a little, because, you know, when I see that stuff, it makes me really upset. The last thing I want to bring up, and this is for us to work out as a family, my fellow commissioners and mayor, I was a little upset. When I found out that we were originally included in a Sun Sentinel article saying that we were going to go against the county order and reopen gyms. I don't have a problem with the idea of talking about reopening gyms. What I have a problem with is that a decision was made without my knowledge as a commissioner, a fellow commissioner in this city. As I understand, we are all one board. We all have one vote. We all have and share the same powers to overlook and give direction for this city. It is not fair. I don't know who did what. I'm not going to make any accusations because I don't have proof. I didn't sit there and spend my time trying to figure out who said what. But that is not right. We all need to have the right information. You all know that people are talking to us 24/7. Everybody wants information all the time. And the best thing that we can do is always be a united front. Being undermined and undercut and being boxed into a decision without us even discussing it is not right. And so I hope moving forward, when we have these major issues on the table, you will wait, whoever it was or whatever happened, you will wait so that we all can discuss it. That's it for me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. So there are a lot of strong emotions that so many of us are feeling. As your mayor, as your servant, I ask that you share with others. I ask my fellow commissioners to share with each other directly, with love, and in a respectful way. It's easy at times to point fingers. It may be a little bit easier during these tough times to point fingers. However, resilience is what comes through when we focus on solutions after we've identified the problems or the problem. With COVID-19, there are a lot of unknowns. It's not just about the virus. It's not just about its physical health consequences, but it's about how this virus will impact our families, how it'll impact our mental health, how it has impacted many of our financial health. And you've actually heard tonight, you know, even something from Commissioner Simmons where not all the facts are there, but he's heated, he's passionate about something. I agree with Commissioner Simmons. We are much stronger together than we are apart. And I think for the most part, our community is together. I think we heard from 5, maybe 6 public speakers. I believe each one of those expressed acknowledgement and appreciation, not just for our commission, not just for leadership, but for the city. And they came with pleas for us not to follow the Broward County preemption order. And they saw in the news about a Fort Lauderdale mayor and their commissioner and their commission taking another path with the gyms. So what's occurred this evening is there is no motion to open up the gyms here and somehow attempt to overcome the Broward County order. Rather, what you've heard tonight is great news from both our city manager and our city attorney about the 2 major issues that so many people have been reaching out to us, which is gym owners, small gyms, like we heard from you, Michelle, and also about pet grooming, like I heard from you, Casey Martinez. So when Commissioner Vignola talks about we shouldn't stack a meeting, for me, if 20 people want to speak, 15, 30, you all have a right to be heard. You all have a right to be heard for 3 minutes. So sometimes we disagree, but you heard we disagree respectfully. And that's what I ask everybody to do. You know, here we are. I agree with you, Vice Mayor. My decision isn't for one. It's not for 5 gym owners. It's not for 10 gym owners. It's for 132,000 people. I served back in 2002 to 2010. Unfortunately, Mayor Campbell passed away, and I've been serving in his stead since last March. I served for 132,000 people, and I am your servant, Commissioner Simmons. I'm your mayor. I'm your servant, Commissioner Sarah. I'm a servant for the students that were on the line on the Zoom call with Riverside Elementary today, doing a town hall meeting from the school virtually. It was awesome. And as I always share with the kids and I share with the citizens, the boss, the mayor of the commission, boss is 132,000 residents. So we listen to you, we answer to you. So when I heard and I investigated with City Manager Babinek and City Attorney John Hearn, I asked, is it possible for 3 commissioners to somehow overcome the Broward County preemption? And in some detail, my understanding from our city attorney and our city manager is yes, but we may not want to go there. After hearing the commitment tonight, and I've been on a lot of the mayor's calls with Mayor Holness, I feel confident. I think the county will make the right call tonight or tomorrow, and I think the county will make the right call on Friday. Mayor Holness has been listening to, I don't know, maybe at least 25 mayors are on the call regularly. One time the vice mayor was on the call instead of me. Another time Alex Falcone joined me. So the county is trying to do something for all of us and have it be 31 cities as opposed to 15 cities doing one thing and 16 cities doing another. So I agree with that. But to the extent that any of my commissioners would like to censure anybody that wants to be heard at a commission meeting, that I will disagree with all day, all night, 24 hours. I think you have a right to be heard, and I'm glad that we heard from 5 or 6 of you. If there were 20 of you, we would have had time to hear from all 20 of you. So I appreciate you all listening to me too, because I have a few more things to share. So there are no easy answers because there's no COVID-19 manual. We're doing as we come. I can assure you that myself, our team on the commission, your entire city, we are committed to a global approach that's based on facts, not fiction. It's based on data, not fear. And it's certainly not based on the gentleman that's sharing his ranting with Commissioner Simmons. We will remain vigilant in protecting all of you and your families. We'll remain agile as we have and pivot when necessary, as we've done since March 13th when we had an emergency meeting and we declared a state of emergency in our city. I want to thank our entire staff, our city leadership team, everybody here at the city for your dedication to our collective physical health, our mental well-being, and to help minimize every impact that COVID has had on our community. You guys and gals, you're doing a fantastic job in the toughest of times. You have no manual, but you're creating one. And Frank, John, Alex, everybody that's here on the screen, we can't thank you enough. And while I hear some complaints from some citizens, the vast majority of input that I hear from our citizens is gratitude. Gratitude. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. So we have some good news. I won't steal your thunder, Frank, about the employee testing. We have a press release about that. So I'm hoping, Frank, that you'll talk about it. I want to acknowledge all of the speakers for having the courage to speak out and share your thoughts, knowing that you may not get a change from sharing your thoughts, but we appreciate hearing from each of you. I would like, Frank, when you speak, if you can share a little bit about the FEMA money that we're still hoping for, and if there are any promises about that. I want to reiterate something that the Vice Mayor talked about, is about noting where you go, keeping a journal if you can about who you're seeing and where you're going, because that's one of the best ways to help with contact tracing if you are unfortunate to contract COVID-19. And that's one of the best ways we can keep our community safe. So if you'd be kind enough to spend a little bit of time just noting where you're going, putting it in your phone. God forbid, if you are to have contracted COVID-19, it'll be a lot easier to get in touch with people that you've contacted with so they can be properly tested. Let's see. I think I covered everything. Commissioner Udine wanted to make sure that our citizens knew he's been fighting to open up the gyms, and I anticipate that will occur soon. I want to thank everybody on the Public Art Committee. I don't know if you've seen the new public art that has come out during COVID-19, but there's one extraordinary piece that's by the Bank of America at the Art Walk at 3200 North University. And I encourage you to at least drive by to take a look at it. It's just gorgeous. I think that's all I have. We'll give it over to you, Frank Babinet. Thank you.
I'd like to respond.
Sure, you can.
So nobody was saying that we don't want our residents to speak at meetings. Nobody was saying that we don't encourage residents to speak at meetings. The concern is when we're inviting people to meetings for things that can be done directly with staff, okay, specifically with this instance. And this business owner thought he was going to go onto our phone call today. He was told that the commission would not make a decision today, but it would come back again in 2 weeks. That's concerning for me when something can be handled directly dealing with staff. We all agreed to certain protocols and procedures as a group, and yet, Mayor, you continue to violate those rules. That is my problem, and that is my issue. It has nothing to do with residents or business owners coming to speak. It's a matter of we as a group, a team of 5, went ahead and set forward some policies and procedures that you continue to violate. That's the problem that I have. That's nothing to do with our residents. I encourage our residents to speak. I don't like the manufactured issues. I don't like when people go ahead and try to stack it. We all agreed to these rules, and I would hope that you would abide by the rules that we all agreed to.
So you think having 5 speakers is stacking a meeting? I completely disagree with you. But you and I can talk to the city attorney, and we'll see if I violate a protocol or not. But I understand your accusation. I got you. I got you. City Manager Babinet.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. I want to thank you guys again for the comments and supporting staff through this event. The city staff continues to navigate these unprecedented times with the best interest of the community, the organization, and the staff in mind. Every decision we make is made based on those principles. I'd like to congratulate Rob Hunter. It was said before, Rob has been appointed as our Parks and Rec Director. He served as the interim director since early February. Rob is passionate about moving our parks forward. He truly has his heart into this city and is really committed to doing everything he can to make our Parks and Rec better and improved in ways that our community will truly enjoy. He joined us in 2018, and he holds a bachelor's degree in physical education and specializes in sports management. So thank you to the commission for your support on this. And Rob, congratulations on your position. I don't know if you want to just say a couple quick words, Rob.
Congratulations, Rob.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm ecstatic. I'm excited. I'm grateful.
You look like it.
I am. I mean, I got a lot of ideas, a lot of energy, to bring to the city and passion in Parks and Rec. A little history. A lot of people wasn't on any of my interviews or anything, but I came from Pittsburgh. I was there for assistant director's position and the director of recreation. And then I went to Louisiana for a 4-year period. So I've been a director for 15 years prior to even coming here. And I came here because of it's the place to live, work, and raise a family. And after my 2.5 years here, we love it here. We don't want to go anywhere here. So I'm blessed to have this opportunity and pleased to serve the residents and work with the city manager, Babnick, and Melissa Heller's been outstanding in helping me along with the transition of the interim and dealing with the COVID situation here. So again, I can't wait to, like everybody else, to get back to business and start making a difference in our parks and make it exciting and fun all over again and serve the people of this community and make all you commissioners and Chief Babnick proud and happy that you chose me for the position. So I'm very grateful and I appreciate everything. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody. So thank you.
Congratulations again, Rob. Back to you, Frank.
So staying on parks here for a minute, I'm happy to announce that our turf fields at Mullins will be opening on Saturday. Rob and his staff have worked to get those fields delivered to us. They're just doing some final touches right now. And Rob has indicated to me that those fields will be ready for use this weekend, which will be a great addition to our parks. We opened our aquatics complex for single lane use this week with all of the social distancing and protective measures in place. Our aquatic staff did a great job at getting that facility ready and reopened, along with our dog park. We were able to get our dog park open this week at the request of a lot of our citizens. There are some restrictions, and you can go on our website for those restrictions. The restrooms in the parks were open this week as well. Again, with some restrictions, we're asking that one person go in at a time. We're asking that you're wearing a mask. We're asking that you're washing your hands and following all of those guidelines to keep everybody safe. As we started to open this week, our staff was fully prepared to support our businesses in doing so. As mentioned before, staff worked on a comprehensive reopening plan that was very dynamic, and it was very comprehensive and ever changing based on the federal, state, and county input that was given via their orders. So I just want to commend staff for their work on that, and I think it did make the transition somewhat smooth. We provided our businesses with safety guidelines. We had one specifically for restaurants, for example, showing them some illustrations of how tables should be set up to provide the safest level of service to the customers. We issued out some reusable masks to our businesses. We've issued almost 300 kits, and within that kit had masks and some hand sanitizer that was donated by Broward Health. We had a couple of different guides in there on health and safety that our health and safety team worked on. And we partnered with both Broward Health and our chamber to get this done. So the mask, for example, those 300 kits contained about 3,000 masks that we've been able to put out on the street, and we'll continue to support our businesses with that. We've also helped linking our business to vendors that can supply them with PPE if needed, so we can make sure the workers and the community is safe. Our staff has been working to staff the business hotline. We've been getting a lot of questions and general questions, and we've been providing responses through that hotline, through social media. A lot of good information going out. Code compliance is going out and looking to educate businesses about the orders that are in place, whether they're county orders or city orders. And we're trying to do compliance through education. It's not our intent. It's not our goal to fine anybody or arrest anybody. We want to collectively comply with the orders that are in place. So code is in the police department is doing a great job with that. I'm very happy, very pleased to announce that our Connecting Business with Loans has now surpassed $800,000 into our small business community. These men and women that have been working on this through our budget department, our grants people have just done an amazing job. And this has truly made a difference in some of our businesses. We know it's not the end all be all, but it certainly helps. I just want to touch on the gyms real quick. I won't belabor the point. I just want to let you know that I spoke with several of the gym owners today, either via email. I left messages for some others that I was waiting to hear back from. And I just want our gyms and studios and fitness centers to know that they are an essential part of the community. We love our business community. We value our business community. And trust me, the second we get the word, your doors will fly open. And staff is ready for that. There will be no waiting on us. So at the end of the day, as soon as that order is issued, we're ready to go. I did speak to the county administrator just about every day this week. Actually, I spoke to her on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and today. And I plan on speaking with her tomorrow and Friday if I need be to get updates as to where we are with that order. She had indicated to me that they are working very hard on that order. Some of their areas that they're focusing on is, as you know, and as some of our speakers alluded to, these fitness centers can be very small to very large. And so they're making sure that the order is applicable to all the different size gyms. And although she wouldn't guarantee it, but she pretty much told me that it is her goal to have that order to us no later than Friday. So I'm hoping to get it tomorrow, early Friday at the latest. All that goes along with the pet grooming order. We should have that tomorrow morning. She told me that was actually on her desk for some final edits. So I'm hoping to get that. But no promises were made, but I'm hopeful, and I will circle back with the commission as soon as I have the definite information on that. Our business hotline is 954-344-5772. Any other questions on businesses, please go there and ask your questions. I remind all of our residents to continue to support our local businesses in Coral Springs. We know that some of the restaurants have not opened their dining rooms yet. They're kind of phasing into it. But any money you can spend in Coral Springs is much appreciated, and it helps all of us. Today, City Hall and the mall opened for passport services. We were able to get that back up and running, which is a very valuable service to the community, and it's a service that is used quite heavily. So our HR team, Dale and our HR team worked very hard to get that open. We do have a new queueless service. So basically you put your information in and it texts you when it's your turn. So we don't have an issue with social distancing and a bunch of people stacking up in line waiting for their turn to go. We're able to keep the separation by using technology. So good job on that to staff. Mary, you mentioned testing a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about testing. Earlier this week, we concluded our employee testing for antibodies. We were fortunate enough to lead a study, statewide study, with our medical director, Dr. Peter Antevi. And we were able to offer antibody tests to all of our employees. Nearly 700 of our employees took advantage of that, which is a very high percentage. Dale would love to have that as a survey turnout. But at the end of the day, all 700 employees were virus free that were tested. So why is this important? Well, it's important for a couple of reasons. One, it's important for our employees' peace of mind. But secondly, and I would say as important, we're able to provide a level of reassurance to the community we serve. Mary, you said it yourself, we are public servants. Everybody that works for the city of Coral Springs is a public servant. We need to be here for our community in their time of need. I want our public to know that our staff is at the ready to serve them in any capacity that we need to, and we can do it safely, and we can do it when you need it. So please rely on us for the services that we provide you, and know that our staff is being tested, and we're providing all of the safety precautions for them to be as healthy as possible when you need them most. So that was really a big reason why we participated in this study. We're going to follow up with the testing in 6 weeks, which will give us a guide as to how our employees are faring through the reopening process. And then in another 6 weeks to cap off the study. Our second goal with testing was to provide testing for our business community. We want to make sure that our community as a whole has confidence that they can go back and re-engage in our business community, go to restaurants, go shopping while proper social distancing, while wearing masks, while doing everything they're supposed to do. So we wanted to provide testing to employers. And that is not at the city's cost. The business wants to, and it's not mandatory, it's voluntary. If a business wants to test their employees, we have set up an avenue to which they can do it. And then the employer knows the status of their employees. Lastly, this is new to the commission. I'm sorry to break this to you at a commission meeting, but I think you'll be pleased with it. As I told you guys earlier, our ultimate goal is to provide testing to our residents. And one of the things that this commission has been very clear on is that testing needs to be free of charge to the community. So we've worked very hard. Staff has put in a tremendous amount of effort. And I am very pleased to announce that we have partnered with the Department of Health to provide a public testing site in the city of Coral Springs. The logistics are still being worked out. I have the reins on Alex because he wants to go tomorrow. But he's working hard to get all of the logistics in place. We're actually shooting to start this testing this weekend. So if staff can pull it together tomorrow from a logistical standpoint, we'll work with Lynn and her great team to get the word out to our community. It will be by appointment. It will be a walk-up site. So you don't have to have a car to get tested. So those are the things we're working on, but the Department of Health was awesome to work with. And we were very, very happy with that opportunity. So we can't wait to get that open for our public to use as a resource. We continue to, I'm not going to go over all the stats for the cases in state and Broward County, but what I will tell you is we continue to watch the statistics throughout the state, throughout Broward County, and that's how we make some of our decisions is on the trends. What I will tell you is there's plenty of hospital capacity, and as of now, the state and Broward County are trending at about 3.5% of a return rate, meaning for those tested to those coming back positive. Our goal, not our goal, but the CDC set a goal of under 10%. So as you can see with the numbers, we're well under that goal. We did want to touch on water billing really quick. We have been getting a lot of inquiries and correspondence about water billing. And some residents were asking, why did the rates go up for water billing? There are 4 different water districts in the city of Coral Springs that supply water to our residents. City of Coral Springs is one of them, but there are 3 others. We have checked and none of them have raised the rates. What has raised is the consumption. With people being home more, we're going into the spring and then into the summertime with irrigation. Maybe people are filling their pools. But at the end of the day, we've checked with all and nobody has raised the rates. What we're seeing is the consumption rate has really increased. It's about 18% higher than it has been. So we've seen about a 20% increase in consumption last month alone. So what I would ask is if you want to know who your water district is, you can look at your bill. But if you'd like to go, we have a map and we have the information on coralsprings.org. You can go in and get that information to see who your water district is so you can inquire with them. We're always here to help you, but we would prefer you go directly to your water district because we don't have access to anybody else's records, only Coral Springs. And then under communications, we're proud to support the class of 2020, and we say congratulations to you all for the milestone that you've achieved. The city is very proud of all of you. We've partnered with a lot of the schools to help them celebrate in different ways. Our police department, communications and marketing our emergency management department has done a tremendous job and help coordinate some parades and some other things to where we can maintain safe social distancing and other things, but still allow our seniors to celebrate their accomplishments. The fields were lit tonight from 8:20 to 8:40 in honor of the class of 2020. Commissioner Sarah alluded to that before. We will air all of the graduations on City TV after they take place. We'll schedule them and we'll air all of those so that folks can watch them after the fact. As mentioned before, it's EMS week. Thank you to our firefighters, our paramedics. We appreciate everything you do. I appreciate everything you do. And you guys know where my heart is when it comes to fire, EMS, and emergency services. Finally, Monday is Memorial Day. I truly want to thank all of our military for their sacrifice, for everything they've done for our nation. If it wasn't for our military, we would not have the freedoms we have to have this meeting tonight and to have spirited discussions. And I'm truly, truly grateful for all of their sacrifices. There will be a virtual Memorial Day ceremony at 10:30 a.m. On City TV. We're hosting the ceremony different this year to protect the health of our community, but I can assure you that the importance of this ceremony still remains. And Mayor, you had asked for a little bit of an update on Hurricane Irma reimbursement. We had a meeting today with staff and some state officials, and we laid out our account, if you will, to them, or our accounting of where our reimbursement is. And they have assured us that they will be looking into this as soon as possible. And hopefully we should hear back from them by the next meeting where we can give you a full update. That's my communications, Mayor. I appreciate your time. And again, thank you to all of our hardworking staff.
Thank you very much. Great report. John.
Yeah, Mayor, very briefly, I just want to follow up on Jim's as well, just to let those individuals and those businesses and other businesses affected so tremendously understand part of the thought process this commission has had, because we spoke with you individually, the city managers had, and I have had as well. I think this community knows, and certainly this commission knows, that if this is our decision based on what we heard today, my office would have drafted it. Sherry's over there right now. We'd have that order and we'd walk over to Frank. We're 60 feet away and we'd sign it. That's obviously not the case. So some of the speakers were, sometimes it's time to step up and defy an order. And I understand that thought process. However, what we're hearing, and again, there's no guarantees, but what we're even seeing is this movement to get there and to get there quickly. There's consequences, obviously, if you go ahead and defy orders. At that point, the county is no longer a partner in trying to get to position A or B. They may decide at that time, hey, under 252 of the statute, we have to defend our rights. So they go to court for an injunction. They can get an injunction. They can get a hearing by tomorrow. Mayor, you know this. And once we're in front of a judge, we no longer have control of things. The judge can enter an injunction. We have our next hearing next week. We have Memorial Day weekend, and we're losing control of something that we think we can get. The best way to get there is now. So tomorrow, I have a meeting with the county attorney and all the other city attorneys. And by the way, these other cities are working with us, and vast majority of them want to come to the same conclusion, or at least allow us to have the option. Frank's meeting with the county manager and the city managers. So we feel very hopefully. So that's what goes into it, because I think sometimes it's easy, hey, just do X, but X has consequences. And sometimes those consequences are no longer our consequences, out of our control. So that I just wanted to follow up on that, and appreciate this commission for how they care and fight for it, as well as the city manager and all the staff at the city. And lastly, Rob Hunter, congratulations. Really looking forward to actually seeing you again one day and certainly working with you. That's my report, Mayor.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your great work, John. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful meeting. Stay safe, stay positive, stay informed. We'll see you soon. Have a good night, everyone.
Night all.